Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello.
So
Oh,
today we have an event for you who is really interested in NMT exams for your future education. There are already 13 people who joined us. Well, I'd like you to turn on your video cameras to be active participants today. And here is Kseniia, welcome.
I see some familiar faces. Yeah, I'm so excited to see you all today. Thanks for coming. Our today's topic is the notorious NMT tests. Does your blood run cold when you hear these words? Is it scary and spooky? Rumor has it that hardly anybody survives the NMT test. But I'm just kidding. Don't be afraid. Everything is going to be fine. Okay. I think while we're waiting for some other people to join, you can write your name, city you're from, and also some interesting facts about you in the chat. Okay, so while you're typing, I can tell you something about myself. So my name is Kseniia. I'm a first-year student at KPI University. I study software engineering, so I'm going to be a future programmer, maybe a hacker, working for ZNO, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I love going on guided tours around Kiev. I love dogs. I love playing table tennis. But of course, unfortunately, we won't be able to talk. We won't be talking today about our dogs, cats, and favorite singers and favorite cities. We will be talking about NMT. Okay. Hi, Sophia. Who else wrote anything in the chat? Something in the chat? Okay. Yeah. Can we start our session, or we will wait for some other people to join us?
Sure, you can start already.
Okay. Hi, Irina. Hi, Ola. Yeah, dancing is so cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's start. So yeah, here are my scores. I got 200 out of 200 on all 3 parts of the test, but I want to start with a little disclaimer. All the advice I'm going to give you today is based purely on my experience. So take it with a grain of salt. Be slightly skeptical, because what was effective for me might not work for you, and vice versa. And also, I want this meeting to be more of a discussion between all of us. So if you have any questions at any point in this presentation, please feel free to ask your questions. Okay, and also one last thing. I'm not trying to brag or show off my intelligence or showcase how smart I am. No, because our test scores, because like we are much more than our test scores say we are. So that's important to keep in mind. All right. So right now, we will go over the structure of the test. I know that most of you are probably already familiar with it. So I have a question. Who knows how many parts is the test split into? How many parts are on the NMT test? Who knows? Please feel free to raise your hand and answer.
3 parts?
Yeah, there are 3 parts. And how parts are on the NMT?
Reading, You talk about English?
No, in general. How many sections are there?
Ukrainian language, math, and free subjects you can choose.
Yeah, and elective subject. And also Miha, right? You raised your hand. Would you like to add anything? All right. Okay, yeah. So you already know that there are 3 sections on this test. So it's the Ukrainian language and math, which are mandatory subject, and there is also one elective subject. And according to our survey, according to our Google form, most of you are going to take the English language, right? And I have a question. Who is going to take history of Ukraine? Because according to our statistics, there are some people, there are not so many of them. Yeah, but some people are going to take history. Okay, Victor, are you going to take history?
I think like in the future, yeah, because because we need to choose two of them, and one is English, and like another one, the closest for me is history.
All right. Yeah, and other participants are going to take English, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think English will be the easiest one.
Oh, English will be the easiest. Yeah, I would agree. Because I was planning to take English initially, but last year the rules changed and history of Ukraine became a mandatory subject. So unfortunately, I had to take history instead of English. Okay. So, yeah. So, this test has to be completed in 180 minutes or 3 hours. And the official website says that test takers will be able to organize their time themselves. Who knows what does that mean? Because I think it is so confusing. Yeah, Sophia, what do you think about it?
Actually, I was going to ask you, so you said that you was going to pass English, and I just want to ask you which one subject else, because I guess you were going to pass 4 subjects, yes? Or no?
I was going to take only 3. So it was
Okay.
the Ukrainian language, English, and what else? And math, of course, math. But unfortunately, the rules changed and I had to take history. Yeah. So you'll have 3 hours and yeah, so, and they haven't revealed any technical details. We don't know whether you will have like 1 hour for the first part, 1 hour for the second, and 1 hour for the third. So I'll tell you how it happened last year. So last year, we were able to switch between all 3 parts. For example, we could start doing the math part, then go over to the Ukrainian language part, and if we wanted to, we could switch back to the math part. So it was very convenient. And I think that the system will remain the same this year, but I'm not sure yet. And last year they published a video on how this platform looked like, on what this platform looked like. If you're curious, you can look through this video on your own. I'll send you the links and all the useful materials in the follow-up email after this session. So if you're curious, you can rewatch this video. But we won't stop at that. All right. So yeah, I think that the platform, the actual online platform, will look somewhat similar this year. And you will also have 2 sessions, the main session and the additional session, and you probably already know everything about it. So let's let's take a look at this slide. All right. So, and a lot of students asked me, what is the best way to structure your time during the NMT test? And I think that the best idea is to start with the math part, because it takes a lot of brain power, and for most students, it's the hardest part. So I do recommend starting with math. Then you should probably do the English part, because it's complicated as well. You need to think a lot. You need to focus. So do the English next, and leave Ukrainian and do Ukrainian last, because it's going to be the easiest subject for most of us. So yeah, and I recommend spending 40 minutes on the math part, 40 minutes on English, and 40 minutes on the Ukrainian language. And then you will have maybe an hour or half an hour to check all your answers. It's very important to check everything twice before you submit your results. And also, who knows, when will you get your results after you complete your tests?
I guess right after, yes.
Yeah, so it's very convenient that you'll receive your results instantaneously. So there will be no need to wait on pins and needles for your results. You'll receive them right away. Yes, you are right. And yeah, and later, okay, yeah.
Шановні учасники
Yeah,
НМТ,
yes. And also don't forget that the registration for the NMT test starts on April 3rd. So today is April 29th. So make sure you register on time and you do everything on time. So yeah. And right now, I think our wonderful host will put you in breakout rooms, and you will discuss the questions on the slide. Maybe I can. All right, but I'll send the questions. Oh, can I just share my screen and can you screenshot the questions, or have you already joined the breakout rooms?
They are there. You can try to share your screen in breakout rooms. You have that option.
Oh, and share my screen. Oh, share to breakout rooms. Perfect. Share.
Well, everyone who's still here, do you need help with breakout rooms joining? Daria, please try to join again. Lena, Veronica, Anna, everyone, if you need help with breakout rooms, just tell me that.
I'm sorry, but I don't have the link. How can I get to that room?
So, Rena, wait a second. Try again. You should see it for
Okay.
now.
Thanks.
Everyone else?
Can you share the screen with questions? Yes.
Yeah, I already started sharing.
was so awkward. I was so awkward.
Right. I see that most people have already joined the main room. Did you like the questions? Did you manage to discuss all of them with other students in the breakout rooms?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Sophia, you will be the first victim. Would you like to answer any of the questions? Or yeah, maybe I can ask you a question. Okay, so what subject comes easily and naturally to you? What is your favorite subject?
I guess if I can choose only one through these 3 subjects, of course, I would like to choose Ukrainian because it's like the subject that I try to speak Ukrainian every day, of course, and I try to learn some new new words like in Ukrainian and phraseology. So it comes to me like easy, and I guess that I will pass it to the 200 and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, but your English is great as well. Yeah, that's great. Okay, yeah. Who else? Okay, Irina. All right, and what part of the test are you the most worried about?
Oh, I would like to say that I'm worried and I'm afraid math because it is very hard to me and I very afraid and I achieve a real success nowadays because I go to teachers and study this subject as well as I can do it at school and all actions turn out great, but I'm afraid.
Oh, don't be afraid. If you're working hard, I'm sure you will ace your tests. I'm sure everything is going to be fine. Yeah, right. And what about you, Kira? Yeah.
What about me? I'm only in 7th grade, but I still think about my future test and my future, like going to university and something like that. But I'm worried about math, of course, because it's the most difficult thing for me. But I think I just need to practice more and work hard.
You're right. Practice makes perfect. I love this phrase. If you're practicing,
especially in math.
Yeah, especially math. Okay, Daria. I want to ask you about study methods. What study methods work best for you?
I have extra lessons every week from math, Ukrainian, and English. And English, it's the best lessons for me. It's the most interesting for me. And I think that the best method is communication with other mates. And I'm very glad that I can communicate with my American friend, and we have a lot of similar, we have a lot of common, and it's really easy for me, and it's great practice for me, and I really like it. And I think that communication with our mates, it's the main method for us.
Yeah, I'm glad you have a lot of in common with your buddy. Yeah, it's great that you have a chance to practice. Thanks to ENGin, and I'm grateful to ENGin as well. Yeah, and Sophia, Sophia number 2, what about you? Sophia in the green hoodie, I don't know how to differentiate between 2 Sophias.
Okay, because I saw, because in my Zoom I am the first one, so I'm sorry. But which study method do I use? Actually, I open Pomodoro method for myself. It's method when you practice, like, let's say 25 minutes, and then you have 10 minutes break, or you can do for like 15 minutes or even 50, wherever you want, and then you do short breaks. Because it's actually really cool, because you say yourself that you will work for 25 minutes and then you will have break and you will not be tired. So I guess that's the more effective way for me to study.
Okay, so you break your work into chunks, and you take breaks in between like these chunks of work. That's great. I haven't heard about this method. That is so cool. Okay, so I think we will ask Daria about her favorite subject, and then we will move on to the next section. Daria.
My favorite subject is English, of course, and some tasks on English are easier for me than some tasks on Ukrainian. And I don't know why, but English is enough easier for me than Ukrainian and math.
Yeah, okay. And there is also another Daria.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite subject is Ukrainian language. I think it's easiest for me. So yeah.
Yeah, so it comes easy. It comes easily to you. All right, and actually we're going to discuss the Ukrainian language right now. Okay, so we already know that Daria loves the Ukrainian language, and there are some other fans of Ukrainian in our meeting as well. Okay, so actually, I can't say that Ukrainian comes naturally to me, because even though right now I speak in Ukrainian most of the time, I used to speak in Russian, and we spoke Russian at home. Anyways, so how I scored 200 out of 200. I'm not gonna lie, I did have a private tutor, and I did have 1 hour and a half long lesson with the tutor every week, but she wasn't explaining any rules to me during our lessons. I did have to learn all the materials by myself first. So what I did, my algorithm looked like this. I read the topic I was going to learn in this book. I think everybody uses it. Can you raise your hand if you use this book for your preparation process? Nobody uses Abraminka's book to prepare for
your something similar, like the second book, I think, in my room. Really very similar.
Not everybody is using it. No? What books are you using? I'm just very similar. Please write in the chat. Okay. So I used this book. Then I went to this Dovidnik, and I read the additional information in that book, and also took notes. So I took notes from the first book, and then I took notes from the second book. And the last step in my kind of preparation routine was this YouTube channel. I'm sure all of you have already come across it. And who's watching this YouTube channel? Can you raise your hands? Oh, all right. Two Sophias and Daria and Veronica and Irina. Okay, yeah. I think the content is great. I love the videos of this woman. She explains everything so well. Yeah, so I used these 3 sources. Yeah, and I know that, and have you ever heard of this book? Have you?
I was talking about that book. Exactly.
Oh, really? You can see it on the slide, and I also have it. It's pretty thick, so there is a lot of information.
Yes.
But it's great. I do recommend purchasing it. And also, I will include PDF versions of these books in the follow-up email. So after this lesson, you'll receive an email with all the links, all the information, all the materials. So yeah, it's great. I came to the lessons with my private tutor prepared. So, and it's my main piece of advice. I know that I was privileged to have a private tutor, but if you do have a private tutor as well, make sure you come prepared, because it makes your lessons 10 times more effective. Make sure you're practicing a lot. Make sure you're doing a lot of tests, a lot of exercises. Thank God you don't have to write an essay, because for me, writing an essay was the hardest part. Even though I ended up not writing it, it was canceled. But anyways, thank God you won't have to do that. Okay, and one piece of advice I wanted to give you. Don't miss a chance to take on a role of a private tutor yourself. Because I think when you're explaining something to someone else, it helps you gain like the deeper understanding of the topic. You can pick several victims. It can be your friends, your family members, your dog, I don't know, and just start talking about rules, start explaining something to someone else. Of course, you can talk to yourself. It's a little bit weird, but anyways. And also, I'm very curious. Are there any folks who are going to pursue a career in education? Is there anybody who is going to become a teacher in the future? No, there are no future teachers, no English teachers. All of you, most of you are taking English. And your English is great. Oh, Sophia, what kind of teacher are you going to become?
To be honest, I'm not sure that I would like to be a teacher to 100%, but I thought about going to the philology faculty and so on. But to be honest, I'm not sure. So it's like only thoughts, maybe in 95% or maybe 90%. Okay. Yes.
Okay, you're not sure yet. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. I thought we would have more teachers for some reason. Anyways, so just to recap, use multiple sources. Don't use only one book, use several. Also take notes by hand. I took a lot of notes by hand. I do have this very thick notebooks left with all of my notes. And it was effective for me. Maybe it won't work for you, but it did for me. Practice makes perfect. Make sure you practice a lot and revise every now and then. Because sometimes it feels like information just disappears from my brain. It just evaporates. So yeah, and revision does help us memorize things better. Okay. Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to mention here. It is very important to do the test from the official website. Because there is a website called, oh my God, I think it's called Osvita UA ZNO, something like that. And they have tests from the previous year. And last year, more than half of all the questions were questions from previous years of NMT. So, and chances are maybe this year, they won't come up with any new questions as well. So, yeah, and maybe they will, yeah, maybe there won't be any new questions either. So do as many tasks from previous years as possible. All right, let's talk a little bit about math. I know there are so many students who are afraid of math. And let's start from the practical stuff. I already mentioned that you should start with math. I think it's the best idea to start with math. Yeah. And also another helpful tip. Make sure you do all the calculations by hand on paper. So during the actual test, you will be handed scratch paper, and make sure you write down the answers, the solutions to even to the most straightforward tasks. That way, when you will be reviewing, when you will be checking your test, you will have all the solutions at hand on paper. So it's very important that you write down all the solutions for the first, for the second, for the third question. And I'm just curious, is anybody used to taking notes all the time? Because I take notes all the time. Is there anybody like me here?
Yes, I'm crazy about taking notes.
Okay.
I also, all the time, do some notes.
Yeah.
I also take notes. Like I like doing notes, making notes on such a paper. So for me, it's like the best methods to remember such formulas or such words, for instance. Oh.
Actually,
I agree with girls. I do the same all the time.
Yeah, I use sticky notes like that all the time. I have them everywhere, like in all my backpacks. So yeah, all right. And also I do recommend visiting this YouTube channel. I'll send you the link in the email. Oh my God. Yeah, so it's called On Gradient, I guess. And I just love the videos in this channel. They're so great, and the author explains everything so well. So I'm sure you will like them. And you see, I watched almost all of them. So, and I do rewatch them on a regular basis now, because even though math in college is slightly more advanced, it's still based on school material. So yeah, it's called On Gradient. And here is the link for this YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link in the email as well. All right. Okay, so that's it. Let's talk a little bit about English. And I told you that I was planning on taking English initially. And unfortunately, in the spring last year, our Ministry of Education announced that we had to take History of Ukraine. Anyways, I know that most of you are going to take English. We're not going to pay a lot of attention to history. And I love these books. We use different books in school, but these ones are great. Is there anybody who's already using them? No? Have you heard of them? Anyone?
Yes.
I heard.
Yeah, Rina, go ahead.
Yeah, I love this book. For me, it's one of the best.
Yeah.
It's very good for me. I love their listening tasks and speaking tasks. So like I'm going through all of them.
Yeah, and I do have all of them as well. So I have the first part, or is it the second? I don't know. And I have all of them as well. So they're great. They're great vocabulary-wise and exercise-wise. There are a lot of use of English exercises. And I know someone asked us how to master your skills in doing this use of English exercises. If you want to do that, this book is a must. But a little heads up. The caveat, the problem with this book is that they use British version of English. So if you're learning American English, be very careful with these books. Because I was talking to my volunteer the other day, and we were talking about vacation because she was going on vacation with her family, and they were going to stay in cabins, like in houses in the woods. And I wanted to ask her whether they would have like fridges, toasters, TVs, stuff like that in their cabins, because yeah, I was just curious. And I asked her, are there going to be any mod cons? And she didn't understand me because in this book, they used the word mod cons. And mod cons, do you know the word mod cons? Have you ever heard it?
No.
Yeah, so it's weird. So, but Cambridge Dictionary says that it's the machines and devices such as washing machines and fridges that make the ordinary jobs in a house. So washing machines, toasters, mixers, stuff like that. But it's UK and it's informal. So if you're studying American English and if you're using these books, check everything twice. Use Cambridge Dictionary and check whether Americans use these words or not. And by the way, my volunteer said that they use the word amenities instead of mod cons. So do you know the word amenities?
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
Me too, but I've heard it in the context of a hotel, you know, when they have different amenities like gym or spa, something like that.
Yeah, but she said, but at least they don't use mod cons. And I learned that. Yeah, but she said that you might use the word amenities to describe like household devices, household appliances as well. All right. Okay. All right. But other than that, these books are great. Just be careful with vocabulary. Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
Actually, yes, I have one question. And you said that you had tutor for Ukrainian language. So I'm just curious to know, did you have any tutors for math and also Ukrainian history, or maybe did you take any course? Just share your experience, please.
I studied history of Ukraine by myself. So I was studying all the time because I had to learn 2 years worth of information in just in just 3 months. So it was hard. Speaking of math, I did attend courses, and if you're interested, I'll include. I can send you some information about the courses I attended. Yeah, and English, I had a great teacher at school, and I started attending courses when I was in 9th grade. So by the time I was in 11th grade, I'd been learning English for 2 years already. So it was easier for me. But you see, when you're preparing for the NMT test, I mean, for the English part, there is no formula. You can't just learn all the topics. You have to be good at English in general, because like you can't do use of English tasks because they're different all the time. It's not the same. So yeah, so there is no simple way to prepare. So yeah. That's it. I hope I answered your question, but I was working a lot on my own. So, but I'm still very grateful to my tutors that helped me along the way. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. If there are no questions, I think we can move on to the next breakout room activity. Can I ask our wonderful host to
Well, yeah, sure. Dear all, please, if you are in breakout room, just wait for your partner. Don't go out. Stay there. It can take some time.
yeah, and also I recommend making some connections during this meeting. Maybe you will be able to find a study buddy, because it makes preparation process way less daunting if you have someone else to study with. So yeah.
Anna and Anna, and one more person. Are you here? So you were sent invitation link to breakout room. Can you please join? Because people are waiting for you. Can you please share it with all the breakout rooms?
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, have you already discussed everything?
Yes, we've discussed.
Yeah, perfect. I think we will wait 2 more minutes for other people to come back from their breakout rooms. Yeah, and while we are waiting for the other people, Daria, what do you want to be in the future? Have you already chosen your future profession?
About profession, I'm not sure, but I want to study in Kyiv-Mohylian Academy. I don't know how correct say it.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah. On sociology faculty. Yeah.
Oh, sociology. Yeah, it's so interesting.
Sociology. Yeah.
Yeah, you will study different. You will study humanities.
Yes.
You will analyze some, I don't know, surveys and stuff like that. Sounds interesting. Yeah, so I think I'm going to close the breakout rooms. Yeah. And who's going to join us in a couple of seconds. Okay, I think everybody's here. All right. Did you have enough time to discuss all of the questions?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. But I wanted to ask you this question from the previous block. Do you think it's fair that there are 2 mandatory subjects and only 1 elective? Because I think it's extremely unfair that students have to take math as a mandatory subject. Because I think while we all agree on the fact that it's extremely important to know the Ukrainian language, I don't think that that everybody needs math, right? So what is your take on that? What do you think about it?
Actually, I just wanted to say that math is kind of hard subject and it's not for everyone. And actually, it's not necessary to know math to live. I don't know. There are a lot of other areas in our life to study and search for, and there is no need to take math like a main subject. But I would say that maybe it would be better when people can just choose, for example, Ukrainian history or math, and then the 3rd subject. I guess it will be really a cool model of our exam, just my opinion.
Yeah, or they could, I like the DPA structure. So you had to take it, but it didn't affect your overall scores. You don't have to show your DPA results to your university. So I think it was fair. Yeah, Sophia, go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's okay. These calculations that I make in my head like can influence on my mind, and it's okay. But when we talk about such deeper information that we like learn during the preparation for the math exam, I guess that it's like can be unnecessary in our life if we talk about like philology faculties or maybe sociologist faculties and so on. So I agree with Sophia that it would be better to select between Ukrainian and math and then the third subject also.
Okay. All right. And Oля, would you like to answer any of the questions on the slide? Maybe about your future career?
Yes, actually, I now study at college on a graphic designer, and we don't need to pass an NMT test, but like if you want to pass, you do this. But in the future, when you want to go to university, you need to have the results of this test. I could say that now in college I have like school subjects and subjects for my profession. Like it's only start of this, but I think it will be great because we have teachers, great teachers that help us with all of this. And if you don't want to, if you don't know who you want to be, you can go to college and see like some of professions, and college in some ways easier than school, because like in college these teachers helps you, and they don't press you that you need to pass this NMT test, and I really like my college, and I think that I don't go to university. Maybe I will have I want to try volunteering, and maybe after college I would try this, or I get my job.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so there is less pressure in college than in school. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. So is there anybody who would like to answer any of the questions so that everybody can hear you, or we can move on to the next part?
I'm just a little bit curious to know in which city do you live, Olga?
I live in Ivano-Frankivsk, and I study at UKD College. Like it's a new college, and they developing and have a lot of activities in their college that you can join. And if you want to have an active time in your college, you can do this in this in this college, because they offer you a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, so
Okay,
Sophie,
thank
if you're interested, you can contact Olga, and yeah, maybe you should message on Telegram, message Olga on Telegram or somewhere else. Okay, but yeah, let's go to the next part. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about how I took the NMT test and what happened to me. And you can see a crying dog on the slide. What can it mean? All right. Anyways, how it all happened with me. So I was preparing a lot. I was working hard, and the day came, and everything went fine. I went to the test centers, they checked our passports, they seated us, and we started writing the test, doing the test at 10 a.m. sharp. And all the instructors, all the proctors, they were super nice, everything was fine. But around 20 minutes into the test, a notification pops up on my screen saying, you have to reboot your computer and stuff like that. You have to restart your computer. I come down, I asked the instructor what I should do. He restarts my computer, everything is fine. But I decided to ask him to add me 5 extra minutes to make up for the time that was spent while he was fixing my computer. And by the way, you can do that as well. So if something happens, you can ask your instructors to add you some more time. And I calmed down, I relaxed, I continued with my test, waiting for my time to increase. But all of a sudden, I see that instead of adding 5 minutes, they took away 45. I started panicking. You can understand how shocked I was. But anyways, I asked this guy to come over to me once again, and he said that he can't fix it on his own. And I was hardly breathing at that moment. I was petrified. Anyways, I decided that I need to take actions. And the only idea I had, the only solution I came up with is to start crying. I was crying my eyes out. I was alternating periods of crying with periods of doing the test. Because even though like deep down, I knew that everything is going to be fine, I wanted my problem to be fixed. So all these instructors, all the proctors were starting running around this test center, calling someone. And 6 minutes before the time ended, they gave me 50 more minutes. And of course I breathed 50 more minutes. And I breathed a sigh of relief. I felt relieved. And I pulled myself together. I checked all the answers and and voila, 200 out of 200. So never, ever, ever give up. If you want your problem to be fixed, try to make those instructors pay attention to you, because like it's your only chance to take the test, and you want to make sure that you do your best and you have the best conditions. So yeah, but I hope that something like that will never happen to you, because like after I came out of this test center, my arms were shaking. I couldn't even believe what had just happened to me. So yeah. Right. Do you have any questions, or maybe you have maybe something similar happened to you?
I just wanted to say that I really sympathize on you, because I know that's really stressful stuff, and I hope that nothing like that will happen with us and with anybody, because it's really stressful stuff. But I really like your advice that we shouldn't give up and we should just do what we do and know what we should do. Yeah, thank you for this advice.
Yeah, just do your best and everything is going to be fine. Yeah. All right. So, and I also
have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How did you manage with stress before exams?
I was just preparing a lot. I was working a lot. I didn't have enough time to stress out over the test, because I was just trying to revise everything and review everything before the test. So yeah, and it's actually, of course, my parents supported me. They did support me, and they told me that it doesn't matter what happens during the test. We have your back. If you fail, we will figure it out. Everything is going to be fine. So test scores don't define your path in life. They don't matter anything. They don't measure your intelligence. So yeah, I think I'm really grateful to my parents who supported me. So yeah, be prepared, and I hope that your parents support you as well. Yeah. And also, it's very important to have a backup plan. I hope you discussed it with your partner in the breakout rooms. Okay, so let's discuss some practical stuff. I think, yeah, we have some time left. Okay, so first and foremost, I suggest that you visit your test center a few days before the test. So I think, yeah, so that way you won't have to frantically look for the place on the actual day of the test. So you will know the address of the test center beforehand, so visit it in advance. And yeah. And what time do you need to arrive for the NMT? Does anybody know?
I know that we have to
3 hours.
No, like what time do you need to arrive for the NMT? Yeah, it does take 3 hours.
We have to be there in advance. I know for sure that in advance. Yeah.
In advance, but can you be slightly more precise? Or you can just guess.
Maybe 2 hours before start, or half an hour, something like that.
Yeah, so I think last year they recommended that we show up to the test 40 minutes before it. Maybe something changes. This year, if something, just be on the lookout for that. Keep up with the news, read all the news. But yeah, last year we had to arrive for the test 40 minutes before it starts. And also, your seat is assigned to you, not chosen by you. So you won't get to choose where you're going to sit. So you will be seated. Yeah, and dismissal, you will likely be done by noon. So all this ordeal is supposed to end at 12 a.m., maybe at 1 p.m. So yeah, and also there are only a few things you really need to bring with you on the actual test day. So of course it's your passport, and I suggest that you take both your physical passport and your digital passport. And by digital passport, I mean your documents in DIA. So make sure that your phone is fully charged and you have your passport with you. Then the admission ticket or invitation, whatever you call it, but you have to print it out beforehand. Yeah, then you have to take 2 pens with you and a bottle of water without a label on it. And also, like, the list of the things you have to bring with you might change. So just keep an eye out for the news from our Ministry of Education. They will let you know what you need. Okay, and of course, you like the following devices aren't allowed in the test center. Of course, it's your phone, different smartwatches, fitness trackers, earbuds, and headphones. So make sure you don't have any headphones in your pockets or like smartwatches on your hand. So just be careful. And another important advice. Your instructor will hand out scratch paper, but if you need any additional scratch paper, don't be afraid, don't hesitate to ask for it. And it's just general advice. If you need something, ask your instructor to do that, because you won't have the second chance to take the test. So don't be afraid, just go ahead and ask for whatever you need. And of course, it's important to get a good night's sleep, have a feeling yet light breakfast on the day of the exam. And also, it would be great to bring your parents with you so that they can support you and maybe comfort you if you're too scared. So yeah, it is great if your parent or parents could go with you there. And of course, your mindset matters. Just try to have a positive mindset. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that you can do that no matter what. Everything is going to be fine. So yeah, I guess that's it. So I wish you good luck on your tests. Never, ever, ever give up. Everything is going to be fine. I'm sure against all the odds, you will be able to do that. And also, I hope there will be no air raid sirens, that the air raid siren won't go off during your test. So yeah, and the last thing, remember that test scores don't define your path in life. They don't measure how smart you are. So yeah, I just keep that in mind. And yeah, that's it. And we still have some time left for the questions and answers. If you have any questions, yeah, Sophia, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious to know because, you know, we've been talking about stress and you said that you didn't have any time to be stressful, but I'm just really curious to know, what did you do at the day before exam? So how do you feel? What did you do to calm yourself, and all advice which you have? Just
Actually, it's very important to stick to your normal routine. Don't be too stressed out. It's very important to find some outlets for your emotions. I do remember that the day before the test, I had a table tennis training. I will also went for a walk with my dog. So don't be too stressed out about the exams. So try to do other activities apart from studying. It's very important. It's something that keeps you sane, because you can go crazy if you're studying for like 10 hours a day without any breaks. So carve out some time for your family, for your friends, and for activities that you enjoy doing.
thank you for this answer.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, Veronica, go ahead.
It's like gonna be like question the question, but maybe like, did you have questions which you didn't know, and if yes, then did you leave them unsaid, or you trusted your intuition and like answer them even though like you didn't know how to answer them?
To be honest, I knew the answers to all the questions because, as I've already mentioned, I did the half of them already. So I did all the history tests available on the platform Osvita UA and all the math tests. So not all the Ukrainian language tests. I didn't do the math tests. So I knew the answers to the half of the questions already, just because like I did all of them. There was no way that I didn't know the answers. So, but of course, if you don't know how to answer the question, it's a good idea to skip it and go back to it later. And of course, you should try to eliminate the answers that don't really fit. But if you just don't know, of course, you have to go with your gut feeling. What else can you do? So, yeah. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. At least I tried.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Sophia, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to ask, maybe, I know that you had such an unpleasant accident with the computer, but how not to worry when you are doing tests? Because I understand that we have to be like focused on the tasks, and especially I guess on English tasks, because it's like reading, it's a lot of thoughts in your mind, and worrying can be unnecessary, of course. So how not to worry in general?
Actually, I think you will be worried for the first 5 minutes of the test. But then you will be so absorbed, you will almost forget that you're doing like maybe the most important test of your life. Of course, it's, by the way, but you will be just so engaged in doing all these tasks, answering all these questions. So all this fear will somehow disappear, I can guarantee. So you will be super worried before the test, but like when you're actually doing it, you're not that worried. I don't know how it works, but trust me, you won't be scared like in the middle of the process.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so are there any other questions? Or maybe you would like to share something with other students. Maybe you know like a wonderful website, math websites that help you preparing for the NMT or stuff like that.
I know a YouTube channel where you can find materials to all lessons. They like preparing you. It's I Learn YouTube channel, and you also can use website Adera at Era, where you can find courses to lessons, and there are a lot of Telegram channels where they share useful files for preparing to NMT test.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that Era before. Yeah, I haven't used it though. Maybe I should check it out.
It's like, it's not for school, it's not about school lessons. They have a lot of courses, and like it's not only school, it's like they have psychology, IT, and different.
Interesting. Sounds interesting. So yeah, I think we are ready to wrap up this meeting.